Good afternoon, everyone. I am Abhishek Vijayagopal and I head CySecK's academic programs focusing on skilling and promoting research. I'd like to welcome all of you to today's webinar, which is the sixth webinar as part of the Digital Defenders Cybersecurity Masterclass and Capture the Flag Competition 2023. Thank you for joining us. This webinar is a part of the Digital Defenders CTF 2023. However, both CTF registrants and non-CTF participants are most welcome to attend the webinar. The slide shows the schedule of the Digital Defenders CTF 2023. So we are now in the final webinar of the third part of the webinars, which focuses on forensics. The final set of webinars are scheduled for next week and they will focus on cryptography. So we request you to please mark your calendars and save the date. The timing of the webinar shall remain the same. So we will very briefly take a look at the exciting prizes that are on offer for the winners of the Digital Defenders CTF 2023. The top of the line honor is going to be the opportunity to work as an intern in reputed organizations. However, this would involve meeting additional requirements by the candidates who are placed in the top bracket at the end of the CTF competition, and it would involve additional prerequisites that are required to be met by the organization. And the decision of the organization in this regard will be final. In addition to this, we have exciting prizes totaling to a worth of 4 lakh rupees, which I will very briefly go over. I have gone through this before also. So we have 3 first prizes valued at 40,000 rupees, 5 second prizes valued at 25,000 rupees, 7 third prizes valued at 15,000 rupees, and 10 participation prizes valued at 5,000 rupees. So the first and second prizes comprise of a Raspberry Pi, a voucher for Hack the Box, and a cash component. And the third prize has the Raspberry Pi and the voucher for Hack the Box. And the participation prizes are only the Raspberry Pi. So the prizes will be distributed only after suitable verification requirements are met by the participant, and the decision on the eligibility for the award of a prize lies at the discretion of the organizers and shall be final and binding. So let us now take a look at the schedule of webinars. We have now reached the 62nd webinar in the Samgacchadwam series. Last year, the government of Karnataka took an exciting step by providing cybersecurity as a specialization option for the diploma students in the state. And we at CySecK helped to draft the syllabus for this course. Whilst we are sure that it will be of assistance to the students who have opted for this specialization, we are nevertheless confident that it will help other students or working professionals who are interested in cybersecurity as well. Cybersecurity is not just a critical domain, but is also a complex topic. We will aim to provide an overview to each of these domains with opportunities for conducting hands-on activities and some pre or post reads as might be required to help you to go into further depth. We hope that this will kindle your interest to explore further. So the topic of today's webinar is Forensics Part 2, and I will now go over the topics that are expected to be covered in this webinar quite briefly. So in the first part of the webinar, they will uncover the secrets of steganography. You will learn the definition and purpose of steganography, which involves hiding information within various mediums. We will discuss different types of steganography techniques, including text-based, image-based, audio-based, and file-based methods. Moreover, examples will also be showcased of different steganography tools and about their real-world applications. This will allow all of you to gain a practical understanding of this fascinating field. The second part will focus in the realm of disk forensics. You will be able to understand how a disk or secondary memory works and explore how data is managed and stored on a disk. So you will learn about file retrieval and data carrying techniques, which are essential for recovering data from compromised or damaged systems. The speaker will delve into file system analysis, file carving, timeline analysis, and metadata analysis. And this will equip you with the necessary skills to conduct a thorough disk forensic investigation. So in the third and the final part of the webinar, you would be introduced to volatility, which is a powerful framework for memory analysis. You will learn how to utilize volatility tools to extract valuable information from memory captures. We will explain the concept of plugins and demonstrate their usage in analyzing memory data. And additionally, you will also gain an understanding of the memory architecture and how to extract important data, such as the running processes and the files that are loaded into the memory. By the end of the webinar, you will have a comprehensive understanding of steganography techniques, disk forensics, and the volatility framework for memory analysis. We request all the participants to pay close attention to this, as this would be of critical use when the actual CTF competition begins between and takes place between 6th and 9th of July. So these skills and knowledge that you will gain after attending and listening to this webinar would enable you to recover or uncover hidden information, analyze disk data, and extract valuable insights from memory captures. Do not miss this opportunity to enhance your expertise in digital forensics and incident response, or DFIR. We are planning to conduct the next webinar on the topic of cryptography, which would be the first webinar of the last group of webinars as part of this masterclass. That will be by Mr. Sayud Samuel from Gen Digital Incorporated. We have already announced the schedule and have opened registrations for the same. Please watch the CySecK website for more updates in this regard. You can access the previous webinars on the CySecK website as well as on our YouTube channel. I request all of you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel, because it will help you to get to know whenever new recordings are out, and it will help us to gain better traction and visibility. I'm going to pause on this slide for a moment. We have shown the different social media handles of CySecK and request all of you to please follow the social media handles on any platform so that you can remain abreast of our events and activities. So on Instagram and Twitter, we are at the rate CySecK COE, and it's the same on Q as well. On LinkedIn and YouTube, it's at the rate CySecK, and on Facebook, it's at the rate CySecK KAR. We hope you have made a note of all the social media handles and request you to please follow them. We'll now discuss about the scheme of webinar and the assessment. So we have webinar number 62, which will be delivered by the speaker, Mr. Nithin Chenthur Prabhu. It will be followed by Q&A. So Q&A will be moderated. That means a group of questions of a similar nature will be taken together by a moderator. So therefore, you are required to type in your questions in the Q&A section. If you see to your bottom right on the screen, you will see a button with 3 dots on it. And upon clicking that, you will be able to see the choice Q&A. Clicking on that will take you to the Q&A window, and the Q&A window will be visible to all the panelists. So our moderator, Mr. Kaushik, will be watching out for questions and will put your question to the panelists at an appropriate time. We appreciate your interest and request you to be a little patient in this regard. Please refrain from using inappropriate language in the chat and while asking questions. If this goes out of control, our moderator might be forced to evict you from the session. The link to the assessment will be provided at the end of today's webinar, that is webinar 62. And in view of requests by a lot of students that they would like more time to attempt the assessment with the option of viewing the recording of the webinar in case they are not able to view the webinar live due to their academic commitments, we are allowing a time span of 24 hours for them to attempt the assessment. So the assessment will be kept open for 24 hours, and it's possible that you might get a couple of qualitative questions regarding webinar feedback. We request you to answer those questions in all sincerity, as that data will help us improve our webinar offerings. We request you to please use a Gmail ID to access the assessment because it is being delivered through Google Forms. Do not use multiple mail addresses per participant. There is a field called email in the assessment form in which you are requested to enter your registered CTF email ID, which could be a Google or a Gmail or a non-Gmail ID, or your registered ID with CySecK, because this would be the only way we can identify the participants and tally their scores and proceed for shortlisting them for subsequent stages. So please take extra care to ensure that you enter the same email ID with which you have registered. So participants who get 10 or more answers correct out of 15 questions, there will be 15 questions in the assessment and all are compulsory, and given the wide time span of 24 hours that you have to attempt the assessment, I would urge all of you to prepare well and ensure that you don't leave a single question. Participants scoring 10 and above out of 15 will be eligible for the award of a webinar certificate. However, these webinar certificates will be issued only upon completion of all the 8 webinars that will take place as part of the masterclass. So therefore, I request you to please bear with us. So it's now time for me to introduce to you our speaker for today, Mr. Nithin Chenthur Prabhu. He is dedicated and persistent in finding hidden data, and he has been with Team BIOS for almost 2 years. For the uninitiated, BIOS is the top-ranked CTF team in India. Nithin is currently pursuing his second year Bachelor's in Technology degree, specializing in computer science and engineering at Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham in Amritapuri. He has been constantly working on honing his skills in the areas of threat intelligence, malware analysis, and is currently carrying out research on finding artifacts from popularly used C2 frameworks. He is also a trained professional in breach investigations. So therefore, dear participants, there is much to learn from Nithin. And with that, I would request Nithin to please turn on his video and to share his presentation. Thank you.
Yep. Hello. I would like to spend a minute to share my video right now. Yep. I hope that everyone can see my screen share.
Yeah, we request participants to confirm in the chat that they can view the presentation, please. Kaushik, can you please check the chat?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have got
Yeah,
a
it is
few
visible.
emojis.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, Nithin, please proceed.
Yes. So good afternoon, all. So as have already given me a good introduction, I don't think I would give you another introduction. So I guess let's get into the topic for today. So we are getting into the second webinar for digital forensics and incident response. Here you will be knowing more about incident response as well as digital forensics. So today's topic, which we are going to see first is steganography. So steganography has been a very developed field in the past domains or like past years in every domain. It's like please don't mind the weird sounds you are getting from my mic because I'm in a building where the construction and renovation is happening. So please bear with it. And yeah, let me resume with steganography. Steganography has been a very good developed field from, for so many years. It was just to send hidden data or hidden messages to countries which are friendlier or to people who are actually spy for their countries. And these days, it has developed so much that it is used by malwares to spread malwares as well as send personal pirated data. So, getting into the definition of steganography, it is the practice of concealing messages, information within other non-secret medium where you have simply any data, you use normal data, let it be your image, let you can just keep it as your WhatsApp PFP. And people, who want to actually receive a message can just download it and view the message. It is a very good medium of secret transmission as well as hidden transmission of data at this particular period of time. So we have a lot of mediums where we can do steganography, a lot of files formats, which includes images, audios, files like PDF, documents, Microsoft, every file, as well as even in text files, you can conceal data, which can be very crucial. So before getting into the other types of steganography, let me like to say you a story. So this steganography, this term became famous during the Cold War. I guess everyone knows about the Cold War, which did happen between USSR and USA. So this both were in a very good, kind of a Cold War, where it might have led to World War III. What happened back then is USSR, the Russian people, they sent few people inside USA to get information which are actually in the Federation level. So FBI was actually trying to get hold of these people, but they have no clue who are they or what they are actually, sending them or receiving from Russia. So they have been tracking down every internet websites that there were. At those days, the internet messages, they were very, very little. Also, the internet websites, those are just few, not like today where we have a lot of websites, a lot of domains. These days, even like people who are a developer, they have their own domain with their name. So back then, it wasn't that case. So when people were actually uh, having an eye on every website, there was one website which was not suspicious. They were just uploading some random pictures, just pictures in the website every day, not even words, nothing, just pictures. So they didn't feel anything. This process has been going on for so long that the USSR people were just uploading something, and the spies who are in USA are uploading back. They were able to, transmit messages in a very good medium. But this thing was found by a FBI CyberSec guy who did steganography analysis in it and found secret messages and saw who all have downloaded in the web logs and found the culprits, the criminals and the spies, and stopped the actual thing. So steganography is actually one of the factors that stopped the World War III, if you don't know. And this thing, it doesn't feel more suspicious because you won't even know if there's any data that is being, embedded into it. So what is the main purpose of this term steganography, this particular domain is we can actually send confidential communication, as I said before, from one person to another without the third person knowing it. You will be seeing end-to-end encrypted messages in WhatsApp, where people these days can easily, if they get a key from your, phone or just your memory dump, they can actually read through all your messages, even though it is end-to-end encrypted. But steganography, until they know that it is present or what you have done, it is very difficult for one to get the data which is actually meant to be read. So by embedding messages with ordinary looking files, steganography is a very powerful field where it can embed images audio files in any images as well as other audio files. So it can be transmitted through any channel. There will be no detection if it is embedded in such a good way. Digital watermarking. So steganography technology these days are also used for watermarking, where you have a good application you develop and it is under your name, but for your ownership verification, you add your own steganographic watermark in the image or in the executable or your application. So whenever someone tries to steal it and they publish it on their own name, you can still do a steganographic analysis on it and prove that it's yours and your copyright is saved. This is a very good way of the usage of that particular domain steganography. Hiding data, as we were speaking of the complete hiding of data of very good mode of sending secret messages to people, embedding secret images, data, everything. Steganography is a very good thing. Also, you can store encryption keys. You can store unauthorized access, privacy databases, everything inside any files so that no one will know it. Then it is one of the anti-forensic techniques where you can actually tamper evidence and hide it. So sometimes you get an malware where you doesn't know where it come from. You could have just downloaded an image that by some other means the image would have unbounded executable. That executable would have run and it would have deleted itself and stays in the memory. That's how these days the fileless malwares are out in the world, where you don't know whether you are affected by the malware and your privacy is being breached or sent somewhere. So now let's get into the techniques of steganography. Text-based steganography. This steganography is a very good one to send just text files and embed secret messages with a secret key. So in this method, the messages are actually getting embedded as spaces, just your white spaces. People will actually, they can't see anything. Only they will be able to see the white spaces if they select the whole thing. The two who will be, more suspicious about the white spaces. Exactly. So it is a very
Yeah, Hari, I think we lost Nithin.
Yeah, Nithin, we are not able to hear you.
can you hear me right now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nithin,
we are
maybe
just
turn off the video and try because I've been hearing a lot of breaking in your voice.
Yeah, cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
can
like
you
you
guys hear me? Is it clear right now?
yeah,
Yeah.
Nithin, I think you can be a little louder, please.
Yeah, sir. Is it fine right now?
Yeah. Please carry on.
Yeah, sir. Yeah. So let's get into text-based steganography. So it is a very good technique and a methodology to implement steganography in text files. So this particular thing is to embed text just in white spaces. Who will be very suspicious about white spaces that are added in the trailing? So it's nothing but if you open the text file, no one will be able to see any message you have been embedded except white spaces in the end, which won't be seen until you select the whole text. So word-based steganography is also kind of same way, where it is embedded and concealed in the text by using words or phrases which will be carriers. Like you give them a key as 5 or 6, where every time they take the 5th word or the 6th word, they will be able to read a good message, which is crucial for the person who receives it. It is also a very good kind of steganographic method to hide information as well as to send it to other people in a secret transmitter way. Then we are getting into image-based steganography. There are a lot of ways you can do image-based steganography. I guess you guys did come through PNG formats and JPEG formats from Abhiram Kumar's, the webinar. So you know how our files actually formatted. PNG, you have the header, then you have the IHDR, which has all the information about the PNG's structure. Then you have IDAT, which will be having all the data. So anytime you do something on the IDAT, it's not going to affect the image so much if the impact is very small. So using that particular part of the PNG, you can do steganography, conceal images as well conceal data. Like that's how you can easily conceal images in images. Or there is IN which terminates the image, so you can just embed in another image at the end. So the other image won't be shown, but can be easily extracted and read. And yeah, as I said, hiding data in LSB and MSB. As you have the IDAT, you can just change the last or the least significant bit, which is in the last, that is to the rightmost from a byte, and just extract that particular bit every time, and you can actually conceal messages. So it is a very good thing to conceal images and to send to people for transmitter in a secret way. And you can hide data in text chunks. You can hide data in the IDAT as an LSB or the MSB, either in the most significant bit, which is in the right to the byte, and the least significant bit, which is in the most left to the byte. And you can hide data in different planes of a PNG, where I will just finish this part and I'll show you how each of these things is done using pretty good famous tools which are available in this particular period of time. So you can also hide data in the alpha channel. I guess you guys know about the alpha channel, which is nothing but the transparency of a PNG. You can hide it in the image height. You can embed other files inside a PNG just by adding it in the trailing or in the LSP, MSP. So there are a lot of things possible in hiding data in PNG. Audio-based steganography. It is to hide data which are very crucial into audios. There are actually a lot of things possible in audio-based things as well. You have a spectrogram which shows the spectrogramic frequency and waves, where you can just make the frequency such a way that you can see the text in the spectrogram. I will also show you one example at the end of this particular topic. And you can hide in the audios LSB or MSB. It's not gonna affect it so much, so it will be a very good thing. Then you can also hide it as a Morse code. People will be thinking it's just audio, which more like tap, more like your DTM of phones are typing. But apparently this thing, Morse code, is also a very good steganographic technique. As well, DTMF, your old phones which has keypads, you hear the sound. For every sound, there is one number. You have the 1, 2, 9, and 0. And inside that, you have 3 letters each in the old phones, if you guys used it back then. So it's also a very good method of hiding data in audios. Then there is file-based steganography. You can just hide in the files after the end chunk. Like in PNG, you have the end chunk, where you can just add anything in the trail and hide it, and you can extract any time and read it. The same way in JPEG, you have the DDF9 in the end, where you can also embed anything after it and you can read it. Then some common methods of steganography are also shown here, like file concatenation. This method involves combining a lot of files together, where you can just get the particular part and get the particular flag or the crucial text or information that you actually want. Then file format manipulation, they can just change the file header. The file header is the one that decides which kind of file it is. So just changing the file header. Imagine you have a PNG, you just change it to the JPEG in the magic header, and you can't actually read it. So people who know what the file structure is can change it back then and read it. It is a very easy one to do it in this particular steganographic way or medium. So metadata manipulation, I'm sure you guys know what is metadata. It is more kind of an extra information you get on an image or a file or anything that you have. It's just embedded for. See, there are a very good metadata, kind of challenges we are facing these days, because someone just posts an image or just a file in the internet. Maybe just take your Instagram. Imagine someone just posting an image. You just download it. You just do metadata analysis. You get their coordinates. You get their, device name. You get their as well what phone they were using, what configuration they were using. Also, as well, their latitude, longitude, the time that took the photo, the date, everything. So it is a very crucial way as well to embed and send images. You can just comment out a particular thing and send them, and they can read it from that. So metadata is a very good thing to actually hide data, which are actually crucial. So there are a lot of compression techniques for each file, where you can compress it using one and decompress it using the another, more like cryptographic methods. You decrypt using a key and encrypt using a key, which will be compressed and decompressed, and you can view it. It is also a kind of steganographic way. Then now we'll get into the most popular steganographic tools which are out there. As we were speaking about EXIF data, which is the metadata. So to view the EXIF data, we have EXIF tool, where it passes through in PNG. It mainly passes to the text chunk and gets the data and prints it out. In other mediums, there are different chunks which will, it goes through and uses the metadata. Here you can see all the things. What was the first file creation, access date, modification, what was the size of the file, what is the extension. You can see X and Y resolution, the width, the height. You can see the compressions, bit per samples, all those things. These are just the basic configurations, but you can get a lot of things, which I'll show you at the end of the tools we are about to learn. So getting into Stexno is a very good tool to conceal messages inside text files, which we spoke. It just adds white spaces in the trailing and makes it a message by its own algorithm, which will be a very complex to discuss right now. So this thing makes text file-based steganography a very good possible way of secret transmission. Then there is VSTEC and JSTEC, which is for JPEG and PNG respectively, where we use LSB, where we embed data in the least significant bit of each byte, and then we extract it and we get it. So the one we have here in the image is an old IISc challenge, where you just have to strings out and you have to do an LSB analysis to get the flag. This is the plain based. See, this is the normal image in that left. you can see a normal image of Iron Man, Tony Stark, but in the right, you can see something that is completely different, where you can see a message. So these are actually very good ways of embedding secrets inside images where people will not be able to see, but you further doing plain analysis will be actually you can see the secrets hidden in an image. And we have binwalk. So as we were speaking about adding other files in the trailing, binwalk is a very good extractor to extract files you are using the header. So you know from the last session from Abhiram Kumar that every file format has its own header. So it's actually pretty easy for binwalk to actually track down all the file headers and then carve out the files as it's actually needed. Or you can hide a zip file. You can see this PNG is the PNG file, which was actually given. You can just see. You can just see the PNG file, but you can't see the zip file. But which when embedded using binwalk, we can just carve it out and read it. Yeah, as we were speaking, this is the Audacity is a very good tool to view files in the spectrographic layer. So this spectrogram, which shows the spectrographic layer, where any audio can be seen as a text. It is a very good way of steganography, where people can actually just send a random audio message and just download and do this and get any data they want to share with each other, which has to be very, very, very confidential. Yes. Then tweak PNG. So tweak PNG is nothing but it is used to modify the height of PNG as well as in ISDR chunk. It is also used to go through all the chunks in the PNG. It is a very good PNG analyzer manipulator. It is also very good in having a good steganography in PNGs. Then yeah, before going to the introduction to test forensics, let me show you how these are actually done. Yeah, I guess you guys can see my terminal.
Yeah, I'd request participants to please confirm. Yeah. Yeah, we are able to see it. Yes, please continue.
Yes. So here we have the 4 files. I would like to show you how few steganography are actually done. So first, let's start with a very good one, which is text-based steganography. Let's just create a file first. Let it be this is a normal message. We have this. We put it into a file called as just text.txt. Okay, so this is test.txt. We have this. So then we have text no, taxi, we give tag m. We put this is we just put secret message. We give password as secret. The password, let the password be secret. Then we give the file as test, and we have encoder.txt. So we made a new one, which is encoder.txt. Now let's see encoder.txt in Nano. In Nano, you will be able to see all the trailing spaces, but when Let me just open it in. Yeah, I'm sharing application, so I guess I can open it in another thing. So yeah, you guys can see. You can see the message that we just typed. This is a normal message, and just trailing spaces. These are just spaces which are trailing, right? When you do text now again on this particular thing, you get secret message. So this was our message, which we actually want to hide. And we did receive the message in the thing. But when we opened it, we were only able to see spaces. But when you open it in the notepad or your VS Code or something, you will not be able to view the spaces without selecting everything. So it is a very good method of steganography. Then let me open this PNG further. Are you guys able to see something in the PNG? Nothing, right? All you can see is a backgroundless PNG. Just a backgroundless PNG. Are you guys able to see it? A backgroundless PNG. Okay, I get a lot of positive responses, I guess. So let me show you what it actually hides and holds inside it. So for this, as I said, we use the tool Stechno, which is a Java-based tool. So I open the same blank.png. Can you guys see anything right now? It's just a white space, right? It's just a white, backgroundless image in here.
Nithin, I think we can't see the image. Maybe you'll have to share it.
Yeah, Nithin, yes, I don't think you can see the image.
Yeah, so then I'll just share it fully. For at least for this session, I mean this particular thing, I'll just share the whole thing.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Give me 1 minute. Yep. So I'll share the screen once again and I'll show you guys. Yeah, I guess you guys can see mine. Can you guys see my terminal? So
Yeah, we can see the
now
terminal.
we have, yes, yes, I'll continue. So now I'll show you what is the blank image. So here you can see this is the blank image. See, you literally can't see anything except just the a backgroundless image. You can get it from online, right? You can just see the just kind of layout where you can't see anything, right? So when we do steganography plane analysis, we'll be able to uncover secrets which are actually hidden in the image. So for this, let's use the TextSol tool, which I showed in the slide, which is a Java-based tool. So here we open the same blank.png. Can you guys see it? I guess you guys can see it, right?
Yeah. We can see it.
Yeah. So when we go to the next, give me 1 minute, I guess. Yeah, I'll just reopen it again. There is some problem with it. I guess there's some problem with the tool right now. Give me 1 minute to configure it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I guess everything is fine with my precast CPU usages. So now we can start it again. So we have the same, blank.png. We use the tool solve. We open the blank.png. Now here, this is the normal image. Here, I guess you can see what is given here. Just keep note of this. This is a normal image. So normally, all you can see is just a background less thing. You can see nothing. But when you go to gray bits, you can see something black. When you go to random color map, you are still able to see something. Random color map, yes, you can see something in full blue frame. You can actually see the image very clearly. So this was the image which was embedded into some image which was actually blank, right? So this is a very good technique. But when you go into green or red, you will not be able to see anything. You can go through only the blue frames and the Zod gray bit frames. You will be able to see things which are actually not be shown in the normal image. Here you can see this is the normal image. You will be not able to see anything. So this is a very good way of sending secret messages to anyone. So then, as we were speaking of metadata, let's look at the metadata of some image which I got online. So for seeing metadata, we'll be using the tool EXIF. So EXIF tool is a very good tool which passes through all the metadata of a particular file and prints it out in a very formatted way. So here, you can see amount of information of the file I can get. So these are all the information of the file I was able to get. And you can see the file size is just 8 KB. The file size is just 8 KB. You can also see the file. Can you see? It's just a Canon taken film. It's a Canon camera used image, which was taken by Canon. And you can see a iguana in there. So it is you can see what software was used to edit it or store it. You can see what camera model. You can actually see the camera model in it. It was used Canon E0S40D was used to take this particular picture. You can see the first, change time, modification time, access time. You can see the date and time it was created. Exactly says which time this photo was taken. You can see all the configurations of the camera, everything as well, because it's this particular, and you can see all these observers, the backlighting, the geometry, all the things which was used during the photo was taken. So metadata is a very crucial thing in today's scenario, because anything can be hidden in metadata. As well, you can get a lot of information from a metadata. So every time you upload a picture or you just share something to someone, make sure you delete the metadata and then send it. There are a lot of online tools you can use to delete. There are metadata erasers. You can delete all the metadata and send it. Make sure you be safe with these kind of things that are out there. Then I would like to show the last thing, which is the audio steganography. So we'll be using the tool Sonic Visualizer, which is a very good tool to view the contents of the spectrographic layer of a MP3 or WAV, all kind of audio files. So we open the audio using Sonic Visualizer. As you can see, this is the whole audio. Once you play it, you will not be able to hear anything that is very suspicious. But when you actually, go to layers and then you add spectrogram. Here, can you guys read? This is a secret message. See, did you guys know that such kind of things actually did exist in it? So it is so steganography as a thing is a very good kind of concealing data in any file formats. Let's go back to, let me just stop the sharing and share it again. I hope my audio is clear and you guys are able to see the screen. Okay.
Yeah, we're able to see your
So,
screen.
yes, sir. Thank you. So, yeah, let's get into this forensics. So, this forensics is a very good enterprise level field in the domain of forensics. The domain of forensics is very, very, very vast. It is very vast. You actually have a lot of things, as I guess Abhiram Bhaiya would have given a very good information about the forensic domain. You have this forensics which does around computer forensics, where actually intrusion detections, breach investigations, malware analysis, threat hunting. There are a lot of domains that surrounds this forensic field. So this branch of digital forensics mostly focuses on the investigation of data and analysis of it on computer disks, secondary memories like your USBs, extended hard disks, also your cloud-based storage, which are stored locally in your devices. There's a lot of things. So all this are kept tracked by different artifacts, and as well as there are a lot of things to uncover evidences. And if someone has any doubt, you guys can note it down at any point of my session, and you can ask me at the Q&A at the end of the session. I will be sure to answer, or I'm sure I'll be able to answer everyone's questions. Then, yeah, just systematic examination of this disk contents, file systems, tracking it, evidences of all the artifacts getting analyzed that are related to security breaches or intrusion detections, breach investigations, as well as digital crimes, which happens these days, even malware attacks, ransomware attacks, all those things are actually tracked or analyzed with a very good help of this forum. It is a very powerful domain in this particular period of time. So just as people are going to cloud these days, the cloud is still not that much of a secured one. This is also getting a bit out of security as well. So analyzing all those things is a very powerful and a pretty good idea to track down any malicious activities. So disk, secondary memory, it refers to non-volatile storage. So what is this non-volatile storage? You have two things in your computer. One is a volatile storage, and the second one is a non-volatile storage. So this particular volatile storage means that the data which you store will be there even after you shut down or restart your system. But volatile is not like that. Your RAM, which just reads data process it at that particular process is not actually non-volatile. It's just everything goes to, blank after you shut down or restart your system. Whichever was in the RAM won't be present, but anything which is in the non-volatile storage will still be present once you restart your system, shut down and turn it on again. It will be still there. So all the digital memory which are commonly found are in HDDs or SSDs, which are in the format of NTFS, REFS. Then you have FAT32, exFAT, all those kind of file systems. Then the importance of this lies in the capacity to provide persistent, reliable, and all those things where the memory plays a critical role in preserving data integrity as well as evidential importance. So going into the basic working of disk and as well as secondary memory, these are divided into many logical partitions which are separated as a lot of parts, where one part or two parts are actually used in different operating systems as the operating system's reserved disk, and one for a backup. So which is a very good way to analyze the data part. So the other part, which is maximum height, see, you could have just installed an 1 TB of, SSD into your system, and you should have installed your OS in it, and you will be having it. But when you view its whole contents, you will not be seeing the whole content being right there. Few are taken for your BIOS utilities, where it has to load the operating system, and few are taken for your backup of your operating system. So the only things you're left with is the remaining data that you actually have to or have in the usage of your normal data storage. So every file will be tracked down in a table called MFT, which is a very good tracker where every file can be known. So there are a lot of partitioning schemes for the operating system as well, where you have master boot record, which loads the operating system's boot utility. Every time you boot the system, you turn it on again. Then there is the GUID partition table, which has all the GUID partitions which are necessary for the operating system. Then formatting of these partitions into any other format is also easily possible. If you have NTFS, you can change it into FAT32, or in Windows server-based systems, operating systems, you can actually change it to REFS, which is a very new one. So these disks are divided into many fixed sizes called sectors, which are most commonly these days it's just 512 bytes. It is also 1024. It's also up to 8 MB these days, where data is stored as a single entity. So these sector sizes, such as 4 KB, are becoming more and more these days. And sectors are actually grouped into blocks, clusters, which represent the minimum addressable unit of storage, which I set as a particular, a normal, a single unit or entity. Then looking into how the disk manages the storage data is a very important thing, which gives a very good forensic investigation insight to gain a lot of information, which are organized in the whole disk image. So which is very essential for a forensic investigator, not just to do a forensic investigation into the particular digital image, as well as to track down malwares, ransomwares, breaches, intrusions, also all the other malicious things that happen in your system. File system. So as we are speaking, there are a lot of file systems. There is NTFS, exFAT, FAT32 and REFS for Windows. There is HFS Plus and APFS for macOS. There is ext4 also. There is XFAT also supports Linux. So there are a lot of things, a lot of file systems which actually the disk gets organized upon. There are a lot of file allocation methods as well, how they are actually stored and allocated in the disk. So data recovery. So disk forensics is a very crucial thing in the particular domain of data recovery. So data recovery is a very important part of disk forensics. So people be thinking any damaged data, any hidden data, or deleted data cannot be retrieved once they are completely, just cannot be seen in the GUI of your Explorer or your terminal or a command prompt. But every data which is deleted can be easily recovered if it is analyzed within overwriting the whole system with any other things. So which is actually a very easy way when you know what is an unallocated space. You have, as I said, you have your 1 TB of whole data. Imagine use 500 MB of your whole partition you have, and the other 500 MB is not allocated. So that unallocated space will have a lot of things or might not have anything if you haven't used it any further. So let's get into it a bit, deeper in the further slides. File retrieval. It is a very important, topic in the disk forensic domain. File retrieval is the process of recovering intact data, which is completely deleted, even your shift delete, that is your permanent deletion, which can also be easily retrieved if nothing is overwritten on it. So how this particular process is actually done. So this particular process is actually done by the method of data carving. As you all know, everything has a particular header or format for itself in starting the magic header. So any tool which is able to access the unallocated space, where any file you delete doesn't get deleted, but just marked as unallocated and put into the unallocated space region. Not just put into, but just marked as unallocated. That will be marked as it's in the unallocated region in your master file table. So this, when you just carve out all the unallocated space with searching for or just listing out all your file signatures and all those headers, you can actually able to retrieve any data that was deleted before and which still stays in your unallocated space. So file carving and file recovery is a very, very easy thing in data recovery in disk. So file system analysis. This is a very important analysis because each file system will be having its own artifacts. So what are these artifacts? Artifacts are nothing but evidences which actually keep track of user interaction or application interaction, executable interaction, any interaction that happens to the file system or files or any modification or changes or any creation, which will be noted down in any of a single file or multiple files, which are called as artifacts, which help in the forensic investigation or which helps us to be sure that this incident does happen and this is the executed malware which does it, or someone has accessed your computer and have done this. So these artifacts are very, very important during the forensic investigations. Yeah, as I said, how we carve is by scanning the disk for signatures and we locate it, then we extract it. That is how where the metadata is also not lost, and anything which is corrupted can also be retrieved easily. This process, analyzing the whole raw disk and reconstructing those files based on the header signatures, is called data carving or file carving in disk. Timeline analysis is a very crucial thing during forensic analysis. See, only if you know which have been done or incident have been happening at this particular time, or there is some interaction of a user or a malware, you will be sure that this has happened at this time and this has invoked this thing. See, imagine Notepad being opened like 10 minutes back, and before the 10th minute, there was the application that was run, and it was run and it wasn't run by you. So you will be sure, or you will at least be, confident enough to say that that application is able to open this thing and it is malicious. So timeline analysis is a very important thing where we analyze the whole artifacts as well as file system files using timestamps. So the main goal of timeline analysis is to establish a very good formatted way of timeline of events that occurred on the disk, and the investigator has to understand and sequence all those actions and incidents that has done by the potential adversaries, APTs, as well as malwares, executables, and by users or the guys who have done intrusions. So timeline analysis is a very crucial thing. Yeah, metadata analysis, we saw every file will have its own metadata. Every file can hide it. Even malware links are hidden into an image, and when they just take the link from the metadata and download it using a normal, malicious, undetectable, which actually bypasses your antivirus, then then the malware gets run. It is a very crucial thing during forensic analysis where you can actually be able to track malwares, ransomwares, all other malicious applications which actually affects your system. Yeah, it provides a crucial insight of usage history, context of files. As well, it is a very good thing in the forensic investigation to understand the digital evidence, which also support our investigation as a evidence of the thing which we actually present or believe. Yeah, now we have seen a basic of what this forensic is. I don't want to go into deep because the session won't be enough even if we see evidences of execution of applications. There are a lot of things which keep in track of the system. If you want to, look into what is this forensics or Windows forensics, you can search it up in the internet. You get a lot of artifacts. Then you will be able to realize how much of data is being tracked from us. It is also be easy for a forensic investigator to reconstruct an incident and be able to be marked as sure that if you have been hijacked, hacked, or exfiltrated. So getting into memory forensics. So memory forensics is a very important thing in today's scenario to track down malwares and to retrieve anything that is completely lost. Or you can even analyze network activities of command to control malware kind of systems. So it's a very good thing on the forensic domain to learn. So it is a branch of digital forensics which involves, preservation and analysis of non-volatile memory. So as we are speaking, non-volatile memory does mean that it is the RAM which does not stay as it is after it just gets restarted or shut down. So this memory forensic thing is to examine the live state of a system where we have a lot of tools to capture, analyze the data, which resides in the volatile memory, which is your live memory, the RAM, where you can get a lot of information. You can analyze all the active processes that were actually present when the memory capture or the dump was actually taken. So from this active processes, which memory forensics is a very good thing to even see malware which are stealthy. You can't see those processes running in your task manager or any other process monitors, but you will still be able to track them down in your volatile memory. So memory forensic is a very good thing for anyone who want to do threat detection, malware hunting, as well as incident response. So this memory forensics, it enables investigators to uncover evidence of cyber threats, unauthorized accesses, also all about data breaches, malicious activities, a lot of things. Even breach you can investigate in with usage of memory forensics, which will be a very good thing. It will be very supportive in your investigation. So what is the main purpose or the usage of memory forensics? The first thing to look is incident response. So incident response is about responding to an incident that it happened, let it be breach, or it can be an intrusion, exfiltration, or it can be a command and control server that has been set up and you are the client who gets control, or it can be a malware which got affected or ransomware which encrypts all your files and now you can't retrieve it. So even ransomware keys can be obtained from memory images where it's easy to retrieve all your files which got encrypted and lost. So by this incident response, by analyzing the whole live memory, they can quickly detect and mitigate ongoing attacks, and by minimizing the potential impact on our organization system and data by just keeping the system on and just doing disk analysis. Taking a memory capture and going through the memory analysis is a very good way of saving the whole system and analyzing the whole impact of the incident. Malware analysis. As I said, it is a very good method to see malware techniques as well as all the malwares that is stealthy and got installed in your system or running in your system, where it is very easy to analyze process injections, process hollowings, shellcode injections, shellcode based unbindings, ransomwares, worms, viruses, anything that just affects your system. So we can also analyze network communications of applications, which is the malware, which is which might be hiding stealthy. Also, all the indicators of compromise. So indicators of compromise are left by malwares, which say that you are actually hacked by a particular field of malware. Like, ransomware, they usually used to encrypt files with the format of their own. If you have a file a.text, a malware will encrypt and change it to a.test if its format is test. So which is actually very easy for us to analyze, and also important, like we can still it's easy for us to retrieve the file a.text where it gets stored in the memory. Then we have forensic investigations to look for compromised systems, analyze for breaches. It enables a forensic investigator to reconstruct the timeline of events, incidents, to get back all the registries, hives, all the evidence data, where we can be able to reconstruct the whole thing, make a record, and we can get to go for the evidence for legal proceedings. So insider threat detection. So any threat that is affecting a system, any intrusions or exfiltrations that are in the system, like someone might have set a backdoor in your system and still be able to access you. This can easily be detected by the use of memory forensic analysis. So threat detection is a very good thing in this, where every attempts to bypass security measures, antivirus bypasses, also exfiltration attempts, breach attempts, all those can be easily detected using the method of memory forensics. It is also a very good thing for research, because memory forensics has been a very good improving field for the last 15 years. Because I guess you guys might or might not have read about the particular thing that came up like 2-3 weeks back, where if I'm sure you guys would know about the password manager KeyPass. KeyPass is a very good password manager, which has a master password to get into its database and read the any passwords you store in it or accounts you store in it as the password manager. So what happened when we did memory analysis, we are able to get the master password just as a clogged string in the whole memory. So you don't even have to, if imagine some malware gets into your system. I recently did analyze a malware which gets into your system. If you have KeyPass, it dumps the process memory, then it gets the clogged password and sends the database. And it can have every password you have been storing or every account you have been saved in it. So it's easy that every storage of your privacy getting leaked easily. So memory is a very good thing. Also about timeline analysis is a very, I also went through and if I'm not sure, uh, there is an attack. I guess you guys don't know. It is iOS triangulation attack. It has been in the iOS for the last 3 years. Everyone thinks iOS is very, very, very secure, but it's not. Many iPhones got hacked with 0 clicks. You don't even have to do anything. People will just, hacker group will just send you a message in iMessage with an malware kind of exploit, where you don't have to do anything. But if they send you, it uses the kernel's vulnerability and gets into your system, and they will be able to do anything. But this thing is easily detectable in forensic analysis of timelining. So which is also a very good thing about malware hunting and threat detection in the field of forensics. So overall, this particular field, it enhances incident response capabilities. It aids to malware analysis, supports forensic investigation. It can detect threats. It can detect malwares, ransomware, worms, viruses, trojans, also malicious kernel drivers for any system devices you might have or might not have. It might set up a driver to, you know, use for its malicious activities. Also, it is a very good thing for preserving digital evidence, where any lost evidence can easily be recovered. So tools used, there are a lot of tools which supports memory analysis. The most common two tools are recall forensics and volatility. Volatility is the open source tool where everyone uses rather than recall, because volatility over the year has been a very good community-based tool where the people in the memory forensic community keeps updating plugins for it, functionalities for it, features for it, where it makes forensic investigations so much easier. So let's get into the tool volatility. So what is this tool volatility? So volatility is one of the most popular open source memory forensic frameworks, where it provides a wide range of plugins, a lot of features, applications on memory analysis on various operating systems like Linux, Mac, Windows, like any version of it. It can extract information about running processes, network connections, registry heights, file system artifacts, it can retrieve files back, it can hunt malwares, it can detect shellcode injections, it can detect byte variations, any modifications. It's a very powerful tool in the field of memory analysis and forensics. As we were speaking, it's a very good tool which allows user to customize, understand its functionality, do a lot of volatile analysis, gain a lot of incident response knowledge, file retrieval of crucial information. All these from a live memory capture. It's a very easy thing using the tool Volatility. So this framework is being developed from 2012, where it recently got changed to Volatility 3, where it supports from Windows 10 to further versions. And if you have any older versions, you can still use the Volatility 2 version. It's actually good. People mostly prefer Volatility 2 because it's fully developed, and Volatility 3 is just in development. So let's get into the key advantages of Volatility, the framework. It's because it is very versatile. It's very compatible with all the platforms that are out there, because it is a Python-based tool where you can also get other modules for Python from the PIP. You can analyze any live captures like Windows, Mac OS, Linux, also mobile devices, which is a very full-packed memory analyzer. And that cross-platform support makes it a very good, go-to-go tool, where you can just also have a standalone executable rather than installing it in your full bare metal and use it anywhere. So what are plugins? So plugins are nothing but extensions of extendable features, which helps us to analyze memory in a further easier as well as an efficient way. So they provide investigators with additional tools, capabilities to extract specific information, to analyze specific network communication, file system evidences, or any details with regards to processes and sessions are registry hives or keys. So these plugins are customizable. If you are so good in the field of memory, architecture, or forensic-based memory knowledge, you can actually create your own plugin and work on it. So with a growing library of plugins contributed by an active community, now we have a lot of plugins to use for. We just don't have to depend on few plugins which are already present. We can still download a lot of plugins out there and still use it. So let's see what is the first step in volatile memory analysis. The first step in volatile memory analysis is finding the profile. So what exactly is a profile? So profile is nothing but the operating system version and the kernel's version, or your kernel's architecture and organization, which is used to do the analysis. If you don't know, every kernel or your operating system will have its memory in a different layout. Windows Vista has its memory very different from Windows 7. Windows 7 is very different from Windows 10. Windows 10 stores things different from Windows 11 in its own memory. So everything should be given its own layout. Even Linux behaves in a very different way in the live memory when compared to Windows and Mac, where each one has its own different layouts and which will be behaving its own ways. So first, finding the profile is a very important thing during the analysis of memory. So you can also easily simply track down system call information, indexes, names of system calls easily with using this particular profile where, as I said, each system call and everything will be done in a different way in different kernel versions and operating systems. So each profile has a unique name, which is usually derived from the operating system's name, version, service pack, architecture. Like the one we have here, Win7 SP1 X64, which says it's a Windows 7 system with service pack 1 and an architecture of 64-bit, where it is actually easier for one to work with the memory image we get. So memory architecture. So memory architecture is a very important thing that one should know during the analysis of memory forensics. So imagine how a process runs. You just run a normal, you just run a executable file. First, there is one segment which is called as virtual memory. So this virtual memory will be allocated with this, which is continuous. But your physical memory, which is actually your RAM, is not continuous. This virtual memory that gets stored on top in the different regions of physical memory, but where we can access it as an address space, which are continuous and called as virtual memory, the process runs in a continuous state. So this particular architecture, it makes us very easier to understand memory forensics in a very broad way. It also is easier for a process to run in a continuous or contiguous memory region rather than memory split in the physical memory. So there's also swap and demand. So this is actually achieved by the method of paging. So what exactly is paging? So paging is nothing but uh, you have particular number of bytes which are put into a page. So pages actually range from 1 KB to 4 KB. Sometimes in this particular 32 or plus systems, it also ranges from 1 KB or 1 MB to 4 MB. So this pages is also getting swapped to disk when that's actually it's not in use. So demand paging is the terminology which we use to swap the pages which are actually in the memory in the address space to the normal disk file where memory utilization is not needed right now, and some other process need that particular memory for its utilization. So extracting data from memory is a very crucial thing where you can extract a lot of information, you can recover files, you can uncover evidences like registry hives, you can also get all the information about file system, all the files that was present, you can retrieve files. It is a very good tool, the volatility to use forensic investigation as well as memory analysis. So one key aspect of memory analysis is obtaining details on running processes, hiding processes which are stealthy, which are actually usually malware or active programs, software applications that are loaded into memory and executed. Also, extracting information about these processes can help us identify any suspicion or malicious activity which does stay reliant in them. Also, we are able to track the execution flow, which process did span the other process, which did create the other one, which is the main process which did bring appraisal of the other one. So this is a very good thing. So another very important aspect of memory analysis is examining of all the files that are loaded into memory, where any file that gets loaded gets its own process. This process has its own address space. This address space is the virtual memory. This virtual memory stay in the physical memory, and that virtual memory is divided into pages where few pages might not be available in the uh, memory capture because it getting swapped because of demand paging, as I said. And also there is sometimes segmentation, which makes the architecture of memory very easier for one to utilize or any application to make use of it. So by analyzing the files in memory, investigators can easily identify and extract valuable artifacts such as documents, images, or even fragments of deleted files from memory. So Volatility provides a lot of plugins like dump files plugin, and we have MFT plugin where files with lower size can easily be seen in the MFT table. And we can also dump memory of a process. We can dump a segment from the whole memory capture. So Volatility is a very good thing. And yeah, before going to the next slide, I would like to show how volatility is actually used or test the functionalities of volatility. Well, can you guys see my terminal right now? Are you guys able to see my terminal right now? Yep, I guess you guys are able to see it. So now I have Volatility version 2.6, which is supportable until Windows 10 version 10.1402, which is the starting of Windows 10. So let me run the thing vol.py. So it's just stored as vol.py, and it's not a script which is stored as vol.py anywhere. Let me just make it already exist. So let me go into the directory and let me do vol.py. It will still work because I just get created. There's nothing in it. I can use vol.py tag fetch. So it will give all the available plugins as well as other things. So here you can see all the functionalities. You can give a file into it. You can give the profile like this. You can get an output file like this. You can give the kernel debugger signature in here. You have, these are all the plugins. You can see print catch information, which are artifacts in the list. Like normally, you can actually read about image scan. Yeah, basically image scan is the one that gives you the the particular profile of the image where you can use it for further analysis. You have an image, you have to use image info. Let me show you, like this is your volatility tool, tag it, let it be a.mem or a.raw, like this is your memory image. Then to find the profile, you have to use image info. So using image info, you will be able to get the profile of memory dump. So once you get the profile of memory dump, you can use tag profile. Files to dump the files using all the from the using the virtual offset, you can just get it again. Then there's also thread scan. There are a lot of also heap infos using VAD info, VAD tree, VAD dump, which are actually a bit advanced in the field of memory forensics. The main thing you guys have to focus on will be PS tree, PS list, process dumps, memory dumps. You can use memdump to dump the memory of a process. You can use malfind to just hunt for malicious injected codes or injected shell codings into the memory of any application. Then image scan to get the profile of the image for further analysis. Then you can do hash dump to dump all the NTLM LM hashes from the memory, where you will get all the system passwords in the NTLM or LM, uh, you know, LM structure or encoded way, where you can crack it using CrackStation or Hashcat or John the Ripper. And then we have Invars, which is just nothing but your normal environment variables, where you just your command line, it has a lot of environment variables where you can, sometimes when you install some application, it asks you to set the path to the application thing. So every time the application uses path, it uses its own path. So Envas is also a very good thing. Then you have dump files to dump all the files. Then you have DLL list to list all the DLLs. You have command line consoles to view anything that has been printed into or typed executed in the command line, or your CMD prompt terminal. Then these are the main things you guys actually have to know. The others are a pretty bit advanced. I don't think you guys want it right now. I'll stop and I'll come back to sharing. Yeah. So we are pretty much over with memory forensics. You guys can practice on, you guys can go ahead and work on mem labs, which are created by Abhiram Kumar, who took the last session, where you guys will be able to know, like read and know about what exactly is memory forensics is. And for any doubts, clarifications, or any guidelines, any helps, mentorships, advices, you guys don't feel awkward or something, just feel free to message me in either Twitter or Discord. I'll help you out with any difficulties you guys are facing. Just make sure you note this both, so you guys can contact me on any guidelines, mentorships, or how to start in this field, how to shine in this field, because this field has a lot of scope. You can be a malware researcher, investigator, malware developer, a purple teamer, a SOC analyst, a SOC coordinator, an incident responder, threat detector, weakness. It can be a lot of things. This field has a lot of scopes. And yeah, thank you. I guess you guys had a good and wonderful session. And I guess now we are good to go with question and answer session. You
Yeah.
guys can ask me any question.
Hi, Nithin.
Yeah, thank you, Nithin. I will now request our moderator, Mr. Kaushik, to please moderate the question answer session.
Hi, Nithin. There are three questions in the chat box. The first question is, if I talk about disk forensic, is it also includes the Google Drive or other cloud storages?
So Google Drive and cloud storages, it has particular config files, database files, which are still stored in your disk, which can be easily able to be cracked, and you can get the passwords for your, if you have an encrypted drive which is stored in your, even in your Google Drive, it is stored in a cloud, right? So you will, what if you store it using a key? Like an encrypted, I don't think you guys would have come up with encrypted pastements where you have to give the password to view a file or a paste. So also this is actually easier pretty much, because you there are a lot of tools which can crack the Google configuration files and get the passwords, and we'll be able to see your Google Drive, which doesn't include the whole Google Drive, but does include the ways of getting access to it. I guess that helps. And the next question is it possible to delete files so that they cannot be recovered back? Yeah, see, unless you have it in the unallocated space, it is not possible to recover it back. Imagine you have 500 MB of your system free. You delete 1 MB of a file, but you don't know where exactly is it in the 500 MB of the file. So what you exactly have to do is have to overwrite all the 500 MB using a script with null bytes or some random bytes. So you might not be able to detect it back. I guess that thing you are able to understand that and it helps. So getting to the next question, how
How
can we?
can
Yeah,
yeah, how can we detect malware in disk storage? The questions regarding
yeah.
the malware.
Okay, so this particular field is known as threat hunting or malware detection. So hunting for malwares in disk is very, very easy when you are actually compared with memory because malwares which stores in disk, which are present in disk, can be easily tracked using timelining. So you know when something is run and when some important things goes wrong. When act or you will be it will be very easier to know because there are a lot of artifacts. If you open your system in your Windows folder, you will be able to see a lot of artifacts of the Windows which keep tracks of you. There are log files. There are events which get tracked upon. There are there are a lot of registries which gets all your data. There are a lot of database files, CATS files. There are also internet which are stored as cookies. Also, your even your Google password manager. See, imagine you go into some random website, you give some password, and when Google asks you to save it in your Chrome or Firefox, it is not safe. When someone gets access to your system, they still have the database which they store in the system locally, your passwords. It is very easy for them to crack it. So yeah, malware detection is easy because of the presence of all the artifacts in your system. So if you want to try cracking your password that you store locally in using your password manager, you can go through and see the tool Dumpzilla. Dumpzilla is a tool to crack the password and extract it, which are saved using the Firefox browser. I hope that thing helps.
Yeah, Kaushik, I
So
think you need to unmute.
How to identify our system is affected by the malware or not?
okay, so identification, as I said, detection and identification, it comes under same way. So if you want to, there are a lot of malware techniques. You can dump your own system's live memory and analyze it if it got affected. If you want to know if any more stealthy malware is affected, or you can see your task manager's usage if there is some other application which is running, which is not, it's you're not actually sure it was run by you, or you can see your network captures whether there is any malicious traffic that is being transmitted from your endpoint to the other endpoint. You can also use a whole system scanning for malicious hashes, application, all those things. There are a lot of techniques for that. You have to read about malware techniques. So because only when you are good at knowing the malware techniques of a developer, or you become a pretty good developer yourself, it will be very easier for you to detect it. Or you just know all the techniques to detect it. You can easily become a good developer by just knowing to code. So they both interdependent themselves. Then the next question.
Next is regarding the tools. Regarding the free forensic tools and how we can get those tools.
pre-forensic tools. Yeah, there are, you can just go to any GitHub and check out pre-forensic tools. You can get a lot of tools. For memory forensics, there is volatility. For disk forensics, you can use FTK Imager or Arsenal Image Mounter or Autopsy, which comes under Sleuth Kit. For file forensics, there are a lot of tools. For steganography, there are a lot of tools. For mainly disk forensics to analyze all the artifacts. There are each artifact analyzer by Eric Zimmerman. Just I'll put the name, Eric Zimmerman, who has a lot of tools created by his name. Don't think I can type it. Yeah, but he has a lot of tools by his name where you can analyze any artifact using that in a very formatted way. Next question.
That's all about the questions, Nithin.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to answer another question. Like, where did you
Yeah.
get to know regarding tools and things?
Yes.
Yeah, so this thing, there are a lot of open source in the online. You can just search among them. You can go through articles, blogs. If you guys want to be a good, good in the field of forensics, you can check out This Week in Forensics, which has blogs, articles every week coming out about malwares, threat hunting, threat intelligence, OSINT things, as well as any digital forensic, events that happened recently. Also the podcast. The GitHub account, it's not just a GitHub account. You can just search as Eric Zimmerman. He's a very good senior professional in SANS, as well as other security research companies. He was also in Microsoft. So you can just search for Eric Zimmerman. I guess.
Yeah, you have completed all the questions, Nithin.
Yeah.
That's all about the question Q&A session.
Yep. Yep.
So we would like to thank our speaker, Mr. Nithin Chenthur Prabhu, for the concluding webinar on the webinar masterclass series on forensics. We hope all the participants have paid sufficient attention, because both of the forensics webinars were quite loaded in that they each had 3 subsections. So you need to familiarize yourself with all the 6 approaches and the different tools so that you are able to gain an edge during the actual CTF, which will take place between 6th and 9th of July 2023. So thank you, Nithin, for very patiently guiding all our enthusiasts and participants and attendees, and for teaching them about different approaches in which messages can be transmitted, and about steganography and about volatility. So now it is time, dear friends, for the assessment. So I will paste the link to the assessment in the chat box, and we will also be putting up the link for this assessment on the webinar homepage. So I will paste the link to the assessment in the webinar homepage, and I will paste the link to the webinar homepage also in the chat box. And the assessment link will also be put on the Telegram group. So we request all of you to please ensure that you attempt the assessment in time. It will be valid for 24 hours, and I'll let you know until when it will exactly be valid and until when it will be accepting responses. In case you feel you want to refresh your knowledge regarding this webinar, then the recording of the webinar will be put up on CySecK's YouTube channel in about a couple of hours time. So you would still have around 20 hours of time to prepare, to watch the webinar, refresh your concepts, and then attempt the assessment. So just give me a moment before I can put the link in the chat box.